I had the privilege of spending over 50 days with Peter Drucker. I was on the board of the Peter Drucker Foundation for 10 years. Peter said many, many wise things, and one of the things I always remember, he said, we spend a lot of time teaching leaders what to do. We do not spend enough time teaching leaders what to stop. He said half of the leaders I meet don't need to learn what to do, they need to learn what to stop. And a lot of my book is about what to stop. There are 20 habits or 20 annoying habits of successful leaders that I talk about in the book. I'm going to go through 2 or 3 of those right now. And I'm going to ask everybody out there listening to get out pencil and paper and write STOP at the top of the page, S-T-O-P. I'm going to give you some of the things I ask leaders to stop doing. The first one I mentioned in the book is a classic problem of smart, successful people. What is it? Winning too much. What does this mean? If it is important, we want to win. Meaningful, we want to win. Critical, we want to win. Trivial, we want to win. Not worth it, we want to win anyway. We like winning. I'm going to give you a case study that 75% of my successful clients fail. And when I say fail, they fail themselves. They say what I would do is exactly the opposite of what I know in my heart I should do. And by the way, most of you listening to this satellite broadcast will fail this case study. What is a case study? You want to go to dinner at restaurant X. Your husband, wife, partner, or significant other wants to go to dinner at restaurant Y. You have a heated argument. You go to restaurant Y. This was not your choice. The food tastes awful. The service is terrible. Option A, critique the food. Point out our partner was wrong. This mistake could have been avoided if only they listened to me, 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 me. Option B, shut up. Eat the stupid food. Try to enjoy it and have a nice evening. What would I do? What should I do? 75% of my clients, what would I do? Critique the food. What should I do? Shut up. How many of you out there have critiqued the food before? Please raise your hands. Was this a smart thing or a stupid thing? It was stupid. And as stupid as that was, I'm going to give you an example now that is so stupid. It will make that one pale by comparison. And most of you have done this. Are you ready? You have a hard day at work, a hard day. You come home. Your husband, wife, partner, significant other is there, and the other person says, I had such a hard day. I had such a tough day. And we reply, you had a hard day. You had a hard day. Do you have any idea what I had to put up with today? Do you think you had a hard day? We are so competitive, we have to prove we're more miserable than the person who lives with us. I gave this example in one class. A guy in the back raised his hand. He said, I did that last week. I said, what happened? He said, my wife looked at me. She said, honey, you just think you had a hard day. It's not over. Well, most people I work with, as I say, totally fail this case study. Next thing on the stopped list, write this one down, adding too much value. Adding too much value. Classic disease of smart people, especially smart people with technical educations. Engineers, scientists often fall into this trap. What does adding too much value mean? I'm young, I'm smart, I'm enthusiastic. I come to you with a great idea. You're the boss. You think it's a great idea. Rather than saying great idea, we have a tendency to say, that's a nice idea, but why don't you add this to it? The problem is the quality of the idea may go up 5%. My commitment to its execution may now go down 50%. My good friend Dave Ulrich taught me a good formula. Effectiveness of execution can be seen as a function of the quality of the idea times my commitment to make it work. We tend to get so focused on the quality we forget what we're doing to the commitment. Another thing is, let me prove how smart I am. Write that down under stop. Let me prove how smart I am. Incredibly difficult for smart, successful people. When people tell us something we already know, not to say, I already knew that. Next time I'm young and enthusiastic, I come to you with an idea. You did already know it. Next time, just say, great idea. We really don't have to prove we're smarter than everyone around us. And then finally, I'll give you just a couple of others and we're going to move on. Don't start sentences with no, but, or however. If someone's given you an idea, never begin a sentence with no, but, or however. The first word out of your mouth is no. What'd you just tell that person? You're wrong. What does but or however mean? Disregard everything that came before this word. This is a terrible habit of smart people. The most common phrase uttered by smart people when people tell us something that we agree with is, no, I agree with you. No, that's a fantastic idea. What are we really saying? No, of course I agree with you. And of course I understand what you're saying. You're confusing me with someone who needs to hear you right now. You can please be quiet. Now this is hard. My favorite clients are stubborn and opinionated people. I don't know if any of you listeners are stubborn and opinionated. I love working with the stubborn, opinionated people, and had a chance to work with a lot of the top military officers, and I was talking to one of the top military leaders in the United States, and I said, you know, I'm a volunteer here, but maybe I'll volunteer to coach one of your top generals. We said, Marshall, we're not paying you. You can't coach all the generals. If you could only coach one, who would be the perfect general? I said, sir, can you find me one that's patriotic, cares about our country, the highest degree of character, ethics, and integrity, driven to achieve, gets those results. Arrogant, stubborn, opinionated know-it-all who never wants to admit he's wrong. You think you could find me one? He said, Marshall, we have a target-rich opportunity. Well, there are a lot of stubborn people out there, and I'm giving feedback to one CEO, and his problem was he's stubborn and opinionated. So I'm going over his feedback report. He says, but Marshall, I said, that's free. If I ever talk to you again and you begin a sentence with no but or however, I'm going to fine you $20. He said, but Marshall. I said, 20. We said, no. I said, 40. He goes, no, 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 60, 80, 100. He lost $420 in an hour and a half. The guy's got a great sense of humor. At the end of the hour and a half, he's laughing, and you know what he said? Thank you. He said, I had no idea. I did that 21 times. Were you throwing it in my face? How many times would I have done it if you hadn't been throwing it in my face? 50, 100 times? Well, no wonder people think I'm stubborn. First thing I do when somebody tries to talk to me is I prove I'm right and I prove they're wrong. Try not to do that. And the final thing to put under stop is plain favorites. Plain favorites. And the higher up we go, the bigger this trap becomes. I've looked at leadership profiles from 70 or 80 different companies, and I've helped develop tons of these leadership profiles. And you know, they all have the desired behaviors of outstanding leaders. One behavior I've never seen on any of these profiles, yet I see out there in the workforce all the time, is called effectively sucks up to higher management. Effectively sucks up to higher management. Every company says, we hate suck-ups. Every leader says, we hate suck-ups. If everybody hates suck-ups so much, how come so much sucking up goes on? It goes on because without meaning to, we all tend to create an environment where people learn to suck up to us. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. I don't do this. I find it disgusting. On the other hand, I see others do it constantly. I'm going to prove to many of you listeners how you do it. How many of you out there own a dog that you love? Well, when I work with executives, I ask that question. They're all waving their hands in the air. I did this yesterday. And I say, name that dog. And so Biffy or Spot get all excited. Then I say, what family member gets the most unqualified positive recognition? Husband, wife, or partner, kids, or the dog? 80% of the time, you know what the answer is? It's the dog. Well, I say, do you love the dog more than the other members of your family? They say, well, no. I say, how come the answer is dog? Well, the dog doesn't talk back, and the dog's happy to see me, and the dog wags its tail and hops up and down. The dog is a suck-up. What behavior do we tend to reinforce? Suck-up behavior. Now, let's get started and talk about some of the beliefs of successful people. Now, every one of these beliefs has helped you become a success, and why each one of these beliefs is going to make it hard for you to change.